voters are not waiting for the first Tuesday in November to cast their ballots.
The record number of Americans taking advantage of early voting across the country.
In states reporting data, an unprecedented 57 million ballots have already been cast. That's more than 40% of the total votes counted in the 2016 general election. At one of New York City's premier venues, long lines snaking around the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, while marching bands drum up excitement.
Incredible turnout to see these lines. I've never seen this before in my life.
It turns out Americans don't even have to be earthbound to vote. U.S. astronaut Kate Rubins cast her absentee ballot with a little help from Mission Control from the International Space Station.
I think it's really important for everybody to vote, and if we can do it from space, then I believe folks can do it from the ground too.
Okay, that is super cool. An astronaut voted in space? Wow! I mean, it's weird that she still had to wait in line for like 10 hours, but yo, that is cool. Also, I don't know if this is the kind of story that would inspire people to vote just because an astronaut did. I mean, it's easier to vote in space. What do you have? Nothing. No responsibilities. You know, down here we gotta work. You gotta check Instagram every 10 minutes. In space, you just float around. You do backflips. You talk to some guy named Houston, occasionally poop in a bag that's taped to your ass. You're living the dream. And guys, I'm happy that astronauts can vote, but America has to ask itself about its priorities when it's easier for a white lady in space to cast her ballots than an old black lady in Georgia. I mean, just look at the lines down on Earth. Have you seen these lines? The lines look so long. Forget buying new Air Jordans. It looks like people are lining up to buy Michael Jordan.
I've heard they've only got one, but I'm hoping they make an exception. I want to get the baseball version.
But what's amazing is that even with all the long lines, even with the suppression, America is still hitting record levels of early votes. There are so many early votes that the president could already have been decided and we just don't know it. It's like the week before Christmas when your parents had already bought your gift and you just weren't allowed to find out what it is. So it could be a brand new president, or it's the same one as last time. I shook the box and it grabbed me by the pussy. And with election day so close, the big issue on everyone's mind is still the coronavirus pandemic. Which is funny, because when you think about it, this whole year, everyone has been waiting for an October surprise. And it turns out the October surprise is that we're still talking about the same shit we were talking about in March. Surprise! So, with America now seeing more daily infections than ever before and hospitalizations rising in many states, the two candidates are staking out their positions on COVID-19. Last week, Democratic candidate Joe Biden announced that he will push a nationwide mask mandate, deploy the Defense Production Act to drive the manufacture of PPE, and begin testing 7 million people each day. And then, President Donald Trump revealed his take on the pandemic. Boring.
That's all I hear about now. That's all I hear. Turn on television. Right? COVID, 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 COVID. A plane goes down. 500 people dead. They don't talk about it. COVID, 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 COVID.
I can safely say that I've never seen a world leader get bored of a crisis. Also, it's weird that Donald Trump is saying this when he's the one still talking shit from 2015. COVID, COVID, COVID. I'm so bored. Why isn't anyone talking about Hillary's emails? Keep up with the times, people. But hey, shout out to COVID for helping Trump understand what we felt for the past 5 years. Every time we switched on the TV and heard his name, Trump, Trump, Trump. Always Trump. Oh, and by the way, maybe the reason the news isn't talking about the plane that went down with 500 people is because there was no plane that went down with 500 people. And if you think 500 pretend people dying is big news, remember that almost 1,000 real people a day are still dying from COVID, COVID, COVID. I mean, if you're gonna bullshit us, at least make the numbers work. Have a fake airplane crash into another fake airplane that goes down and crashes into a pretend petting zoo, and then the animals get out and maul like 600 more fake people. That way, you get close to the COVID numbers for today. I mean, seriously, how does this president still not get it? People are still talking about COVID because people are still dying from COVID. Imagine if the captain of the Titanic had this attitude. All anyone's talking about is drowning, 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 as if tonight's not all-you-can-eat shrimp night at the dining hall. Now, I know what you're thinking. If Trump is tired of hearing about COVID on the TV news, well, there's actually something that he could do about it. Just turn off the TV. But even that might not work because these days, the news is coming from inside the House.
This morning, concerns of another coronavirus outbreak at the White House after 5 of Vice President Mike Pence's associates, including his chief of staff, test positive for COVID-19.
His chief of staff, Mark Short, was with the vice president on every campaign stop last week, including Friday night at a rally in Ohio. Short now in isolation and experiencing symptoms. Pence's body man, a personal assistant who accompanies him virtually everywhere, a political aide who recently traveled with Pence on Air Force Two, along with 2 other staffers. But CDC guidelines call for a 14-day quarantine after exposure to the virus. A spokesman saying Pence will continue to travel as planned, quote, in accordance with the CDC guidelines for essential personnel. Critics say campaigning for office does not qualify as essential.
Wow. Vice President Mike Pence, the head of the coronavirus task force, has COVID all over his office. This is like finding out that the Flash came in second in a marathon. I don't care what African country that guy was from, you're supposed to be the Flash. Although, I mean, technically, this is one way to keep track of COVID-19. You know what they say, keep your friends close and the coronavirus even closer. Honestly though, people, I'm not mad at Pence. I'm just disappointed in him. Because I get Trump not following the rules. We know he can't read, but don't tell me that Mike Pence can't follow strict protocols. I mean, that dude's rules about being around women are more complicated than the rules for meeting the Queen. Again, I apologize, Your Majesty. I thought you were trying to chop my neck off so that you could become Highlander, and that's why I fought you. Now, if Pence hasn't caught corona, this is actually some really good information for us to learn about the virus. Because now we know that you can get the virus if you're breathing the same air as someone who is positive, but you clearly can't catch the virus if you spend all your time kissing that person's ass. And it's wild that even after he's been exposed to the virus, Mike Pence is still going to campaign. Yeah, I mean, it's a terrible idea, and honestly, I think it'll backfire because who the hell is going to a rally with Mike Pence if that might give you coronavirus? And yeah, I know people go to Trump rallies after he got COVID, but that's Trump. His rallies are fun. That's worth getting corona for. No one wants to get corona from Mike Pence, especially because he already makes you feel like you have corona. Yeah, you know, after he talks, you're exhausted, it's hard to breathe, and you just want to lie down. But it turns out there's actually a very good reason that the White House isn't following guidelines for preventing the spread of the virus. They just don't want to.
And the White House sounds like they are admitting that they have given up on trying to stop the spread of coronavirus. Chief of Staff Mark Meadows telling CNN, quote, "We are not going to control the pandemic."
Here's what we have to do. We're not going to control the pandemic. We are going to control the fact that we get vaccines, therapeutics, and other mitigation areas.
Why aren't we going to get control of the pandemic?
Because it is a contagious virus, just like the flu.
Yeah, interesting. So the plan is to just let coronavirus spread freely throughout America? It's interesting how zen Trump's people are about this. You know, because with an immigrant child who came over the border, they're like, zero tolerance, one is too many, we have to deport. But with a virus that's killing hundreds of thousands of Americans, they're like, look, man, the virus is just trying to make a better life in our lungs. Who are we to stop it? But yes, you heard that right. The Trump administration is basically surrendering to the coronavirus. I mean, they're not using the word surrender, but admitting that they're not going to control the pandemic is basically surrendering. In fact, we actually have the tape of Trump himself personally surrendering to COVID-19.
It's over. After 8 months of bitter fighting, this morning, President Trump surrendered America to the coronavirus.
I gotta hand it to you, coronavirus. You outsmarted me, and you outwitted me also. America is all yours.
Why don't you guys just wear masks?
No thanks. I'd rather just surrender.